Quail or chicken? Quail or chicken? Let's talk about it. So the first thing we should talk about when it comes to quail and chicken is space, right? So this right here is an 8x4 foot hutch that I have built for them with automatic waters, feeders. And you can see you can hold quite a few quail inside each hutch. I have a grow out hutch, which is the hutch on the right that you see is completely empty. And then I have a breeding hutch, which is this hutch right here. So effectively what I do is I take the eggs from here, I incubate them, and when they hatch out, I either sell them, and the ones I don't sell, I grow out for food. So you can be very effective in a very small amount of space. Now this right here is my chicken barn, so to speak, my poultry barn. So this is where my chicken and ducks and turkeys, this is where they go for refuge from the elements. Right here, up here, you can see that we have solar lights that are affixed. We have about 100 feet of solar light that are affixed. Ran completely off solar, completely off grid system here. As you can see, this is a substantially larger area. But with that being said, I have a lot more chickens, I have a lot of ducks, so this works out great. And in the winter time, as you can see here, we are getting eggs year round. Another consideration to think about is, are you going to be pasture raising your flock? My flock here, as you can see, they are pasture raised. They can freely go wherever it is they want. They have all of this open space here to go and to pasture. So what's your game plan? Because if you're going to have them in a smaller facility, you absolutely can. But for me, like I said, I have the space, and I definitely encourage my flock to integrate and to pasture raise and to really keep my yard free from everything from ticks to insects and pests. Now, from a sustainability factor, this is one of those large laundry detergent containers. My breeding stock here will go through pretty much one of these a day, especially during the heavy summer months where they're really laying eggs and producing. They're not right now because it's the winter time and I don't have lights set up in this cage, and that's fine with me. I'm not really trying to breed them right now, so this is fine. But just keep in mind, from a sustainability standpoint, it's very hard to pasture raise these. They can fly. Quail can fly. So it's very hard to keep them in an area and pasture raise them. So what that means is increased costs, increased food costs and feed. So keep that in mind. That is one of the major trade-offs with quail that I have found for me. So another thing to add, I just fed them, right? So their food container there is full. This is the loudest they get. And you have to keep in mind, I have about 20 females in there. I think 3 or 4 males, roosters. And this is as loud as they get. Extremely quiet. So for those of you that live in suburbia or even the city, I mean, they are very, very quiet. You wouldn't know that they were here unless you knew they were here. With the chickens, especially if you have roosters, like that guy right there and that guy right there, they're extremely loud. Even the females, they will cluck when they scratch, and when they lay eggs, they can be very loud. And by very loud, I mean compared to the quail, like I said, right here, this is as loud as they get. I mean, they literally just got fed, and this is them talking and being chatterboxes. Can we just pause and look at this beautiful rainbow? I love my life. So right here we have 5 pasture-raised chicken eggs, 5 quail eggs. As you can see, they're different in color and size. They're significantly different, but the chicken's a bigger bird than the quail. but they're both really good egg laying poultry. They'll both produce per quail and chicken over 300 eggs a year. So we'll do a meat comparison for you real quick. This is from one of my chickens, right? This is a 6-pound bird right here, completely cleaned out, ready to go in the oven, 6 pounds. There are 3 quail in here, completely cleaned out, ready to go in the oven, 1.5 pounds. So 1.5 pounds for 3 quail, 1 chicken, 6 pounds. Butcher time on the chickens about 12 weeks. I wait about 12 weeks before I butcher them. For the quail, anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks, you can butcher them, you can harvest them. So overall, you get more with the chicken, but it takes longer. The quail, you get less, but you can harvest them sooner. So put them next to you so you can get a better size comparison. But quail, chicken.
Alrighty, chickens versus quail. They're both great livestock animals. I have both of them. I think they're wonderful. So let's start with quail. What are some of the upsides to quail? Well, number one, I'm going to say overall, they're very small, they're very compact, and you can have them in small areas. So you can have them in the city, you can have them in suburbia, you can have them in the country. You can pretty much have them wherever. You can house them indoors. You can house them like you would a finch, right? They have the ability to fly, so pasture raising them is going to be nearly impossible. But you can keep them in most places where you can't keep chickens, so that's good. And there's not a whole lot of city ordinances and laws and ordinances that would prohibit, as far as the literature that I've seen, that would prohibit quail. There might be some in certain locations. Most people don't even know what quail are, unfortunately. Next, they're super quiet. They're very quiet. Even the roosters are quiet. So you can breed your own, you can have your own program, and nobody would ever be the wiser that you have your own program. Literally, the quail that I have are way quieter than the birds that are local in the area. They're just not that loud. At least in my experience, they're not that loud. Your turnaround time on them from the time, if you start with incubated eggs, from the time you have your first egg to the time you get your next egg, literally can be within 9 weeks. No joke, because they reach sexual maturity at 6 weeks old. They can start laying at 6 weeks old. So if you get an egg and you put it in the incubator that day, 18 days, and then from then 6 weeks, you're already producing fresh eggs. So in under 9 weeks, you can literally have, from starting with an egg, fresh eggs, fresh meat. So you can keep your females, allow your females to continue to lay eggs, take your males, and you can harvest them for meat. So if you're looking for a sustainable food option as much as you can in the city and growing your own food, that's a great place to look at. It's a great place to start. And they do produce a lot of eggs. They can produce, one hen can produce over 300 eggs a year. So if you have, like me, operation of 20 females laying consistently, and let's say I'm just getting 15 eggs a day, you do the math. That's pretty awesome. Odds are definitely in my favor. And as far as the meat goes, you're always gonna have lots of roosters. So you can easily, harvest them and, have a single serving size of high quality meat. Now, the downsides to quail: they can fly, so pasture raising them is going to be very difficult to do. I don't know how, unless you set up some kind of system where they can't fly away, which I think would be pretty resource intensive. Not going to be able to pasture raise them. That's first and foremost. Number two, as far as sustainability goes, they require feed inputs because you can't pasture raise them. So really, when my operation is going at full speed here, I have to spend quite a bit on feed. Now, I'm easily able to make that up by, selling quail and all that other stuff, but they are food intensive, meaning that all the food they eat, you have to provide to them. So, when I'm going at full speed here, they're eating more than my chickens are. So just keep that in mind. They are going to require feed inputs. So the benefits, like I said, and another downside is they're just smaller. So the eggs are going to be smaller, meat's going to be smaller, but that just comes with a smaller bird. So they reach sexual maturity very quick. So you can immediately, if you're talking about, that was my one, pandemic prep, if you want to call it that, just as a project I want to do. Your turnaround times are very quick. You can literally have a chicken, get it as an egg, and you could go a whole year because of the molting season and everything, and not get your first fresh egg till next year. With the quail, as long as you can provide lighting to them, they're gonna they're going to be producing eggs very, very quickly. So they reach maturity very quickly. They're producing meat for you very quickly. They're small. They're quiet. You can have them in the city. You can have them in a garage. You can have them in the suburbs. You can have them outside. You can have them indoors. Like I said, they're very hardy as well. But the biggest downside for me is they do require a lot of feed inputs, and I'm just coming at that from a preparedness homesteader standpoint. Now, chickens. Chickens are great because, number one, it's a meat source that most people are familiar with. Okay, so most people are familiar with that meat source. Number two, you get a bigger meat source, right? I mean, my chickens, when I harvest them, they're about 5 to 6 pounds. That's pretty good. Now, it takes them longer to get there. It takes them anywhere between 12 to 16 weeks, depending on the chicken, to get them to get to that size. But you do get 5 to 6 pound bird, so that's nice. The eggs are bigger, right? But it takes longer to get there. It could take you up to 6-7 months if you plan it right before you're getting your first eggs. And then obviously once they start molting, or in the wintertime, you may not have them because of light requirements or they're molting. So that's something to take into consideration. Hens are usually, they're not super loud, but if you have chickens, especially in the suburbs, your neighbor's going to know you have them because they cluck loud enough. Roosters are extremely loud. Probably won't be able to have them in the city because it's going to, they're going to cause a lot of noise. So, I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at. I think chickens are great. I'm always going to have chickens because they are an amazing meat source. As far as sustainability, they can scratch. I let them pasture raise everywhere they want to go. They always come back, to roost at night. And they really take care of making sure that they keep insects down. I mean, chickens eat everything from, crickets, ticks, grasshoppers, you name it. And so I think overall that, that's a great, that's a great service they provide. They go great with the ducks. The chickens and ducks can live in harmony, no problem. And so overall, they provide a great service with overall lawn care, to be 100% honest with you. And so that really reduces my feed costs. So I'm able to produce 5 to 6 pounds of chicken 12 to 16 weeks with limited inputs. So as far as being a hardy animal for homesteading and being a hardy animal for, hard times, you're going to be hard pressed to beat a good quality homestead chicken, or pasture raised chicken in regards to heritage breed, etc. Now, as you guys know, with me, I'm another great thing about chickens is there's lots of different varieties. Now I'm doing some, I'm crossing the non-GMO standard Cornish cross with some of my with my current breeding program, which is a good strain of Marion and Sussex chickens, because I'm trying to create a just overall awesome homestead bird. So I want a homestead bird that will grow out, I want to be able to grow them out within, under 16 weeks, preferably 12 to 13 weeks. And I want to have a 6 pound bird in under 16 weeks, and I want it to lay like an egg laying bird. So that is my goal. Will I be able to get to it? I don't know, but I'm enjoying the process, and I'm able to provide for my family. So with that, I like the chickens. If I had to choose which one's better, for me, where I'm at here on the homestead, having property, being able to do so, it's going to be the chickens for me. But if I lived in the suburbs, or if I was in a more city type setting, I would have quail hands down. Like I said, quail, they are a great preparedness livestock animal. Like I said before, here in the country, I enjoyed the project. It was a lot of fun. But overall, if I had to choose, since I'm, like I said, living in the country and I'm looking at it from a preparedness standpoint, I would go with the chickens. However, if I was not here, it'd be quail all the way. So if you live in the suburbs, or you live in the city, or wherever, look at quail, think about it, weigh your options, and go from there. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you think I got something wrong, let me know. Let's have honest discussion, dialogue, and I'll see you on the next one. As always, guys, long live the Republic.